Cleopatra here. I'm back. It's Friday. You guys know what that means. We're doing a mukbang. So let me show you guys the spread for today. I have some tteokbokki right here. Rice cakes. I added cheese to the rice cakes. Can you guys see the cheese? So we have some rice cakes right here. I have literally a mountain of white rice. I have veggie spring rolls. These are awesome, super crunchy. You just throw them in the air fryer for like 15 minutes. You're good to go. I also have a Thai iced tea right here. So I'm really excited to dig into this because, yeah, it hasn't even like been stirred up or nothing. So that's exciting. And I also have some kimchi to munch on as well. I'm actually going to put this kimchi right here for now. Clear a little space. And without further ado, you guys, let's get started. I'm super hungry, per usual. So yeah, and I also wanted to do a story time with you guys today, something a little different. We're going to be talking about a cringy date I went on about like 2 years ago. I can't believe it's been 2 years. Like, time really is flying. But without further ado, let's try out this Thai iced tea. Look at that. Oh, yay! Oh my gosh, look. Yay! So good. And I also got 2 soy sauces. I literally called up this restaurant and was like, hello, can I just get a Thai iced tea and some sweet and sour sauce? Like, I'll pay you guys. Because I cannot find sweet and sour at my grocery store, like, anywhere. I don't know why. It's like a drought. It's so weird, but, you know, it is what it is, right? All right, so let's just use that for now. Put this one over here. My little secret compartments. And, yeah, let's try out the food. I don't know where to go first. I think I'm going to try one of these spring rolls. And let's dip it in the sweet and sour. I was going to say soy sauce. I don't even have soy sauce. I don't know. I'd rather just eat them with the sweet and sour. Wow, these never fail to amaze me. They're so good. I get them at like my local grocery store and they come in like a package of 4. Ooh, really sour. I don't know what that was, but yeah, and you just pop them in the air fryer. Like 15 minutes, you're good to go. All right, let's try out the rice cakes. Yeah, so I put cheese in there, you guys. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened. That just like hit me the wrong way, the sauce. Can you guys see it? I'm gonna try to get like some, ooh, a little bit of a cheese paw. I didn't bring any soy sauce because I like to dip like the rice and like, you know, the sauce in here. I put like so much cheese though. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. There's butter in here too, you guys. I'm happy. Let's get into it. So, I'm going to tell you guys about a date I went on maybe, like I said, 2 years ago at this point. Crazy. So, make a long story short. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be a good amount of time. So, I was actually, I'll give you guys like the backstory. I was actually delivering for Uber and I ended up at a Hooters near me. And I actually, a friend of a friend, we're actually really cool now. So my friend's friend is a Hooters girl. So I obviously know her. I know the people working in there. So I've been there, you know, a couple times. And I've been there when their shifts are over type of thing. So initially, I had already met this guy like a few months back in the parking lot. Really random. I don't know, whatever. And I don't know about you guys, but I have like a really good memory. And I just remembered this guy. So with that being said, I'm in there and I'm waiting. The food isn't ready. So keep that in the back of your head. Like I met him in in a parking lot, you know, a couple months back. So I'm sitting there waiting. They tell me, you know, it's going to be like 5 minutes. Okay, whatever. So I'm waiting, and this guy, there was like a game on the screen. So much cheese. There was a game on. So he's watching the game, and he's like trying to get a good view of the game or something. I don't know. But I think he was more or less like trying to spit game, because he gets up and he's kind of like walking near me, you know, casually looking at the screen. And I'm kind of like, what is he doing, you know? The cheese fell on the table. And he looked familiar. Because like I said, I do know who this is. Sorry, guys. I got some napkins over here. I have a lot of stuff back here. I got butter. I got napkins. I just hate when things get stained. Icky. All right, so he's looking at the screen. Then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, I think I know you. And I'm like, wait, I think I know you too. Like, I wouldn't have said that if I really didn't, like, remember him, but I really did remember him. So he was like, I remember you. You were, like, with so-and-so. And I was like, yes. I absolutely recall that type of thing. So, he's like, yeah, like, what are you doing? Like, who gets takeout from Hooters? And I'm like, no, I'm doing an Uber, actually. And he's like, oh, like, you do Uber? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I just said that. So, whatever. And then he's like, well, let me take you out. And I'm just kind of, like, taking it back. And I'm like, who, me? But I'm like, you know, I'm kind of like, I think he asked for my number initially, type of thing. Like, we're going to go out. Like, what's your number? So I'm like, you know, what's the big deal? Like, here's my number. Like, I kind of, like, already, like, know you. You're, like, you're an acquaintance at this point. I've seen you. Like, I know that everyone in there knows him. Like, he's a regular. So, like, I don't have to be worried about anything. I don't know, because I begin skeptical. And my guard is up. So, it's like, I'm like, I don't know. But, yeah, he was cute or whatever. So, I was like, okay, fine. I have a whole tub of butter. I'm going to put it on the rice, you guys. So, moving along. I get his number, whatever. I get my food. All right, see you later. Like, hit me up. So, that week, he hit me up. We were texting, like, all week. But it wasn't, like, creepy. Like, he honestly was good. Like, it wasn't like that, like, good morning, good night. Like, you're not, like, up my butt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really like that. Especially if you just meet someone. It's like, let's just, like, kind of, like, you know, every 72 hours, like, you can check in, like, whatever. But, excuse me. Other than that, like, I'm kind of like, you know, we don't need to talk all day long. I got all the butter on that bite. So, we're chatting all week. He's chill, like I said. He's not, like, super clingy. You know, he's asking me, what are your interests? What do you do? Like, all that. What are you doing for work? And I was teaching at the time. It was actually, like, recital week, which I'll get into in a minute. So, and, you know, I'm telling him all my, whatever, my ideas and my thoughts, and he's telling me his. Turns out, and mind you, he's like, I think he's like 15 years older than me, you guys. So he's like grown. He actually like owns a few businesses. He's into real estate. the whole nine, like the whole nine. So with that being said, he's telling me like he owns businesses, yada yada, like in New Hampshire, like, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is kind of intimidating, you know? I'm like, I'm just like a little girl, basically, like, working, like, at a local dance studio, delivering Uber, and you're like, running 15 businesses. So I'm like, okay, like, good for you, like, we're talking about it. So dramatic. That week though, like I said, so we're chatting or whatever, and then that week, the first red flag, okay, I'm at this dance recital, like I said, for my school, so I couldn't really be with my phone, like, you know, my phone was kind of like irrelevant at that point, but I had my phone at one point, and I saw that he texted me, and it was a picture of a pool, his pool. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I have a pool too, you know? It wasn't that brilliant. So he's like, but then he left me like a text with it. And he's like, you need to come swim. I don't know, you guys. Like, is that just like nice? I thought it was like cringy. And I'm like, oh yeah, like definitely soon. Haha. Like, he's like, yeah, like pool party, like, I don't know. I'm just gonna say it now. I think he's just like immature, but whatever. So he's like, yeah, like pool party, like blah, 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 like sends me a picture of a float. And he's like, yeah, like this is you on the float. I'm like, what? Or like, I need you on the float. I'm like, oh my goodness, do you really? So right there, I'm kind of like, LOL, smiley face. LOL, smiley face. I'm like, okay, a little corny, but like, whatever. I can do some corn. Nothing against corn. I like corn. So, let's finally get into the date. So, we eventually end up going out. Mind you, this is an important piece. Like, I get it. He owns like 15 businesses. I want to dip this like in the rice. Yeah. He owns like 15 businesses. So he had to like reschedule. Like we had Tuesday planned. And I actually was busy that week because like rehearsals and stuff. And he's like, can we make it like Wednesday? Like, he kept like, flip-flopping the times. So I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like, what am I supposed to say? No? Like, and then we have to postpone it to, like, next week. Because he's busy. Like, he only had, like, one day a week or something to do this. But he made the time. I respected it. And I said yes. So, we go on Tuesday. Or no, we go on Wednesday. Now, my ladies, like, do you guys get annoyed with this? Like, I don't know if you guys can agree with me. But, like, if someone's like, okay, be ready at 6. I'm literally ready at 6. Like, whatever the last thing I was doing, whatever it may be, whether it's probably hair, makeup, putting your shoes on, your clothes, whatever, I'm not going to be done till 6. 5:59. Once it hits 6, I'm ready. And it was like 5:52. Or something. I don't know. I think it was earlier because we still had to drive there. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to drive. Like I said, I didn't want to be too pushy. I don't want to be too, like, I don't think pushy is the word. But I just wanted to drive on my own. Like, I'll meet you there. So he's kind of like, where are you at, like, 5:37 or something like that? Like, I still have to get there. Like, that's plenty of time. And I literally, like, was ready. I was just, like, wrapping it up. I'm not even being dramatic. Like, I was ready. So I'm like, I'm kind of like, yeah, like, I'll be there at, like, 6, like we said. Like, 14 times at this point, because we had to keep rescheduling. I want some kimchi. So, we end up finally getting to the restaurant, we went to hibachi. I didn't say that. Like, that's what made me, like, I'm like, oh, maybe he's, like, really cool. Like, similar interests. Like, I love hibachi. And that was the first thing he brought up. I think it's a great date idea. Like, you know, you're just getting to know each other. Like, what if it's awkward? It's the perfect, like, icebreaker, I guess you could call it. That's for the one person that asked me to burp. If you're watching this, that was for you. Everybody else, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Alright, I'm just kidding. But, so, it's just a good icebreaker. I don't know. That's how I look at it. So, I'm like, oh my god, that's perfect. I love hibachi. I'm like, maybe it's meant to be. So, we go to hibachi, and my hibachi joint is in a mall. Is in the mall near me. So, we get there, we meet up, hi, how are you? You know, yada yada. And we go inside. And he was like weird. Like, I like, obviously I was dressed nice. Like, I was dressed to the nines. Like, I looked nice and fancy, like ready to go. And like, I think I had like my Louis bag or something. And he was kind of like, how do you like afford that? Like, kind of like weird. And I'm like, dude, it's literally like secondhand. Like, don't worry about it. Even if it wasn't, it's like, I don't know. Whatever. Like I said, weird. None of your business. So, we go inside, and he's like, I just talked to my boy. I guess he knows the chef in the hibachi joint. This guy knows everyone. Like, he probably knows you who's watching. Like, he probably knows you. He knows everyone. It was like people were like walking through the mall like, oh, hey, so-and-so, hey. Like he just knew everyone. So he's like, yeah, my boy is finishing up a table, so we have to wait. He's like, do you mind running in Best Buy with me? I want to look at the TVs. Mind you, I'm wearing like a dress. Like, I looked fancy. Like, whatever, I guess. Like, you know, I just looked over the top for a Best Buy. Like, excuse me. So I'm like, yeah, once again, what am I gonna say? No. Like, nope. I didn't say no, but I was trying to be like, why don't we go get a drink? Like, we can wait for him, and we'll just get a drink and, like, chat. Nope. He insisted, like, he needed to look at the TVs, like, right this moment. So I'm like, whatever. So we go in Best Buy. I love the texture of these. I'm sorry. So we go in, and he looks at like the most expensive TV, basically like, I want this one. It's like massive. And I'm just like, okay. Like, in my head, I'm like, I really hope he doesn't buy a TV right now. Like, that'd be so embarrassing. Like, because I just felt like he was the type of person to literally buy a TV on a date. So he gets his price range. He's talking to the people at the counter. He probably knew the worker. No, I'm kidding. He didn't know this worker, but... like, at this point, I'm like, you know everyone. So he's getting, like, price ranges and whatnot. And, so then eventually he's like, okay, my boy's ready. Like, let's go eat. I'm like, finally, you know, I'm hungry. So we get to the hibachi dinner. You know, we order, we're chilling, and honestly, it was chill. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It was chill. We were chatting. I feel like I'm the type of person that can literally talk to a wall. So, you know, the conversation was certainly flowing. It wasn't, like, dry. It was good. And anybody that's gone to hibachi, like, you sit with other people, right? And that's what I meant by, like, it's an icebreaker. Like, if things did get awkward, you know, you're kind of, like, in an atmosphere where there's a lot more people around. There's a lot of, like, hustle and bustle. And there's, like, the show. You can watch that and, like, kind of, like, you know, ease your mind if you're, like, oh, I don't know what to talk about. And you're just, like, dead on staring this person in the face. You're not. You're sitting next to them. Whatever. So, these two girls come and join us, and turns out they're cops, and like they just went to school, like they just got like their license or certificate, whatever it is, so it's, you know, they're cops now. And he's like super intrigued. He kind of just made small talk with them. He's kind of like, hi, how are you guys, you know. Then it's like, oh, what's your name? And then it's like, oh, what's your job? Like he literally like was like trying to find out their life story. I'm like, that's fine. But he literally was on the date with them at this point. He would not stop talking to them the whole time. Like, it was so awkward. Like, he was, like, really into the conversation. Like, they were talking about, you know, a lot of different stuff. So I'm literally just sitting there like this, like, I actually had the time. Like I said, he was not paying attention to me. So I literally, like, took my phone out. And then I eventually text my best friend, and I'm like, he's literally talking to the people at our table. This is so awkward. Like, I'm done with this, basically. Like, you know, I gave it a whirl. I let my guard down, like, and clearly, like, I should have kept it up. Like, it was such a fail. So she's laughing or whatever. She's like, oh my goodness, like, just eat and get out of there. I'm like, no, totally. Like, I'm on it, right? And then, so we leave or whatever. Like I said, I'm so far gone. Like, I'm over it. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to say, like, my goodbyes and, like, go home. And then he's telling me, like, I want you to drive my car. I want you to see my house. Like, I want you to drive my car. He's, like, insisting I drive his car. It wasn't even that nice of a car. He was acting like he had a Ferrari. It was, like, a new Infiniti. Not even new. I think he said it was, like, 2016. And this was, like, I don't know, 2018, 2019. So, he's like, no, I want you to drive. I'm like, no, please. Like, no, you have to. At this point, I'm like, fine, just to, like, get you out of my hair, you know? I think after that, he said, like, let's go to my house. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to your house. Like, no. Like, that's where I draw the line. But I ended up going with him really quick. He's like, no, I just want to show you my house. Like, it's a new house I just got. And I'm like, Lord help me. I told my best friend, I'm like, I'm going to his house. Like, I got you with the address. Like, you gotta know how it is. So, we get to his house, and it's really nice. It's a nice house. It was like I was being sold a home, though. I get it, you're a real estate agent, but I don't need to know what fabric your carpet is. I don't need to know what kind of, you know, tile you have on your floor. He was literally pinpointing everything. Like, oh, this is this cabinet. Oh, this countertop is marble. Oh, this is that. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to go. And, like, mind you, now I don't have my car. I'm, like, stranded. I'm like, great, dude. So I'm, like, literally texting my best friend this as he's, like, showing me his whole home. Just showing me everything, like, just showing off. Like, it was really just, like, a show-off-y moment. Like, I wasn't, come on, dude, you're, like, 38. Like, come on. I don't know. So, I'm super cringed at this point. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Like, what did I do to, like, deserve this? Like, can I just get out of here without it being awkward? So, eventually, he shows me everything in the home. It wasn't creepy or nothing, but then he's like, oh, like, let's play pool. No, just, like, playing around. I'm like, I don't really know. So we were, like, throwing the balls or whatever. And while we were talking that week, he was like, what kind of music do you listen to? So, I said Trippie Redd. I love Trippie Redd. And I just left it at that. I didn't, like, bring up anybody else. We were, like, texting. I was like, oh, have you heard of Trippie Redd? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, I was like, I love his music. And he's like, oh, who's that? Mind you, like, this was a week ago. So now we're together at his house and he goes, oh my god, you're gonna love this. I have made you a playlist of trippy red music. I almost just like died on sight. I was like, what? Like, I was literally taken aback. I was like, a playlist? He's like, yeah, like, do you want to hear something? And then he literally like puts like the airdrop on, and it's literally like he's like playing Trippy's music, and I like lost it in my head. I'm like, oh my god, like, what is going on? So I'm like laughing, like I'm trying to keep it in, and I'm just like, and he's like, yeah, like I like this song. I'm like, no, you don't. You're trying to be like young and hip. It seemed that way. So he does that, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, there's only 24 hours in a day. Like, this has to end sooner than later. So then eventually I think he realized I was getting kind of cringed out. Thank God he got a hint. He got a clue, and he's like, let's just like go sit outside or whatever. It like started getting weird because I think he knew that I was uncomfortable. So he's like, let's just go sit outside, and then like I'll bring you back. So we go sit, because it was summer, so we go sit outside. And he's trying to get like deep in convo. Like, talking about exes and like, you know, just crazy stuff, like personal things about past relationships and whatnot. So I tell him my whole spiel, and then he brings up his ex, and he's like, oh, like she's a stripper, like basically like I built her up from like the ground, like from the ground up, like she had nothing before me. And like I'm pretty sure she had money, dude. Like, strippers make a lot of money. I don't think she needed you. But whatever, I don't know what he said. So he's like, yeah, like I basically like I saved the day with that one. And then he's telling me that like she's like crazy, I guess. He has like, I think she like stalked him or something like that. Something crazy. Maybe like he had a new girlfriend or something, and like the ex was like stalking this girl. So I'm kind of looking at him like, buddy, why would I want to deal with that? Like, and I feel like my facial expressions give it away, because immediately he was like, oh no, she lives in Florida, like it's okay, like don't worry about her type of thing. And I'm like, I'm not worrying about it because I'm never talking to you again, but like, why are you like telling me that? Like, what? I think he had a vent, you know? So, vent it away, vent it up. He's like, I need a vent. Can I get a venti? So he vents or whatever. And then he's like asking me about like my ambitions and my goals, and like, I kept saying, like, I wanted to be a flight attendant, and he's like, I can get you a job, like, and it's like, I don't want anybody to help me. I hate that. Like, I'm not asking anybody for, I could be on fire, and I'm not asking somebody for help. Like, I'm like that, whatever. Especially from a literal stranger. Like, I met you, like, 20 minutes ago, and you're ready to give me a job. Like, that would make me feel so weird. I would never even take that, like, ever. So obviously things just got weird, and I kind of just like, I think, like I said, my facial expressions and my personality just like get the best of me, because of like my patience. I act like it's good, but it's not. So eventually I think he just knew I was so over it, ready to go home, never talk to him again type of thing. But he gets like super offended, because when we leave, like, I don't know, we almost like fighting. He was like, I don't know, like acting like I don't know what I said that provoked him, but he was like, you act like I want to marry you or something, and like, blah, 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 like, isn't not even like that. And I'm like, well, what is it, dude? Because you're asking me like way too many questions for a first date. I don't know, like, I need you guys' opinion on this. because that's the end of the story. He brought me back to my car. Like I said, we left. I drove, of course. He had to let me drive. I drove back. And, yeah, I kind of said, you know, see you later. I hope to hear from you. He knew that I didn't want to hear from him. I haven't heard from him since. But I did see him at my gym. So that was weird. I mean, I was on the top floor. It's like a 2-level gym. So I was on the top doing the cardio. And he was at like the weights on the bottom. So yeah, I just saw him. I was literally like ducking. I was like, oh, I gotta hurry up and get out of here. Because like I'm so far over this. So beyond like done with this. And another little LOL moment too. The girl that originally I know from Hooters that like the song makes sense and how I know him. I told her I went on a date with him and she was like, oh my God, like why? And I told her, I'm like, I don't know, I just gave him a shot. And then she was telling me that he brought her dad to his house. She goes, he shows everybody his house. He showed my mom, my dad. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, he showed literally my dad, his whole house. She was like, yeah, he like kidnapped my dad one day. Like, I think they were like running an errand because they like know each other. He knows everyone. And he's like, yeah, come check out my crib or whatever. Like, all right, you guys, the food is done. My story's done. My belly is full. And I hope you guys is too. And I hope you're happy. This will be my video for today. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe on the bottom. It really does help. And I'll see you guys on Monday for a fashion video. And I will see you on next Friday. It seems so far away. I'm sad. I might do a little surprise this week too. So just stay tuned, you guys. I'm like, maybe. But yeah, until next time. Bye, guys.